MLBB. This is going to be a chess match as we enter into the drafting phase for game number 1. Which of these teams will be able to outdraft the other? We got Team LILGUN on the blue side, we got IMPERIO Esports on the red side.
There's a huge focus on the XP lane so far. They have banned that Trizlan. Also, they have banned Arlet, even though Arlet can be used as a rumor, but mostly he's on the XP side. But again, I don't know if this will be a caster curse or not, but I said we will not see Guinevere that much, and just after I said it, it was picked at the same game, I guess. So no, I'm not seeing Guinevere, and it has only been picked 2 times. I don't know if this will remain until the end of the series.
I'm concerned about, again, I'm just talking about the jungle pick. I believe against, we saw a Yisun Shin ban at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
True.
I wonder if that's going to like make an appearance, because we want to see even more. Roger has been proven to work. Gusion has been proven to work. I want to see the more crazy styles we haven't been seeing. For now, though, they'll be banning the 1-1 away. I mean, you're on that 1-1 was an absolute menace in yesterday's matches for IMPERIO. So, with all this focus on the on the XP and the gold lane, the jungle will be more focused for IMPERIO, and they're the ones banning with the Nolan. Concerned about that mobility, that burst damage, and fast clear.
We already saw how dangerous Nolan is in the hands of a skilled player, how much he can snowball and really take the game over. And I think IMPERIO Esports have definitely done their research, right? They know that LILGUN cannot be afforded to give a very strong early game, because once they snowball, they just do whatever they want, man, in the land of Dawn. But with the Matilda now picked up, is this going to be a problem going into the early game?
Well, the early game will be so hard for Team IMPERIO because Matilda has that engage and disengage ability that can make it so annoying. Even like she can save like not just the jungler, even any troop or like any player inside the battlefield from a definite death. So by seeing that Matilda here, and also on the other side, there's a quick response. Oh, the draft is going so fast, Arashi.
Well, Bruno and Edith, it's a great combination. It can be aggressive and defensive, so technically it can also still be flex. So IMPERIO are hiding their cards a bit more, but they've secured a great hero for Ur. For LILGUN, getting the Matilda is absolutely value, but the Joy here, it's strong, it can still carry in the late game, but it's vulnerable to crowd control. So far, with already a knockback from the Worldie, as well as the Onwards and Earth Shadow combo, there's a lot of ways for IMPERIO to really shut this Joy down, unless it's flexed over to a different role.
It's possible Joy as a hero can be played in a variety of positions, jungle, EXP, even flexed into the mid lane previously. But we're definitely seeing LILGUN focus more towards those first few minutes of the game, with the Brody now picked up to try and match the Bruno's overall performance. Now, a question I do want to ask right now. The Edith was not popular in day 1. Why do you think IMPERIO is going for it?
Well, it is, let's say that whenever I see Edith, I always expect it to be on the roam. Some people actually play it on the XP lane.
Or mid.
Or mid. I didn't see it. Was it played mid?
Oh! Let's go!
There you have it. There you have it. Then KPG actually did the research, as there is a Yisun Shin in this tournament.
Yep, that is true. I have to note, when I watched the match from IMPERIO Esports in their own tournament back then, in Liga Latam, their opponents at the time, Bigatron Suns, banned Yisun Shin against Aurora all 3 games.
I believe there's an insane win rate on that hero as well. That is probably why they're fearing it so much. We'll have to see if it works, man. I'm so excited for this.
Well, we can add it up now to 42 unique picks.
That's true.
Okay.
We're going somewhere.
For now, man, we'll have to see. Continuing with the banning phase, though, there's a Yu-Zong now to just make sure that all these squishier heroes don't really get dove on. And there's the Lilia ban away, so you can expect some high prio, high movement from the mid lane jungle and roam combo from LILGUN, right? Matilda, Joy. If you add someone with good wave clear right here, it's going to be very difficult for IMPERIO to really try and defend against it, especially because they have a Yisun Shin, right? It's quite vulnerable in the early game, which makes you wonder if a Hilda is going to make an appearance, because it did show up yesterday.
That is true. It'd be a little trickier to do that now, considering that the Matilda has already shown up, and with the recent nerfs to support heroes and Flask of the Oasis, the Matilda mid is not as viable. It's still possible, but we will have to see. As of right now, Imperio gonna be focusing towards that roam position, banning out the Kufra, the Kadita as well, removed from the pool. I think the main question is going to be on that Yi Sun-shin, though. This is a very vulnerable hero, though they do back it up with the Nether Realm.
But it's actually so strange for me. Team Imperio is depending so much on the damage, and I don't see that Edith can take all that damage in. Or she cannot be that front lane that helps having two marksman combo at the same draft.
Well, it depends. I mean, first of all, if this is going to be a roam Edith, first of all, but it can go in the EXP lane as well.
Yeah, it can.
We'll have to see. If he's doing well in the lane, right? Tankiness, he can build tankiness and still do damage.
43!
But for LILGUN, it's going to be a Masha as well. Now, are they picking it for the roam? Are they picking it for the EXP lane? Because Masha was changed. Now she functions a bit more like a duelist. The first skill. Oh my goodness!
44!
Both! What? Hilda Masha. We've seen this strategy used to absolutely dominate against assassin picks, against picks with a lot of squishy backline heroes. They've used it to great effect right now. But if Imperio use a fair miss mid maybe and go for a Valir or something.
Well,
there's
you want to make it
potential
45.
well. I'm just saying, man, against two tanky max HP fighters, there's potential here.
I think that the fans at this point should pray for the Yi Sun-shin to survive this early game.
That is true. It's so scary, right? And now there's a lot of pressure. I'm not sure if Edith alone will be able to handle the pressure coming in from Masha, Hilda. You could maybe flex, go for an X-War, go for a Valir, but even those heroes are a little bit vulnerable. They go for the aggressive option though, the Dirov, anti-armor.
We don't go for the defensive stuff, bro. We want to go all in. You pick tanks, we pick physical defense shred. We don't care about crowd control. Our gold laners, our backliners are self-sufficient, says Imperio.
Ooh, this is gonna be an exciting game.
That's a crazy draft, dude.
Yeah, some final thoughts before we jump in.
Well, actually, we are almost there. We're almost at the 50 milestone. Different heroes since match one. Imagine what's coming next. And I have something last to add. Team LILGUN and Imperio, they both have so interesting drafts that I don't know which one won the draft actually.
Ooh, that's a tricky thing to say. I may have to agree with you. So many new heroes showing their faces here in the Land of Dawn. We'll have to find out how this match turns out, because we're going into game number 1 between Team LILGUN as well as IMPERIO Esports, whose identity will appear stronger upon the Land of Dawn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. I am very concerned. I feel like on paper, this really favors LILGUN, but with Imperio, you never know what you're gonna get. You're seeing now Marquinhos just making sure that Aurora does have the security, does have the safety. Early game, Yi Sun-shin and Dairoth can really burst down this Hilda, but there we go. Aurora takes it, focusing on farming right here. And this is how the Hilda is supposed to be played. Yesterday, we saw it picked up, but used in a more defensive fashion, I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, much more aggressive Hilda gameplay right now, which is what we hope for. But I do wonder if Ethan was a little bit slow there. The fact that Aurora was still able to secure that first buff, no problem. But look at this.
Ooh. What's going on? What is going on? Why are these so aggressive at the early game? Yeah, it's because they have all this early game aggression, having that Hilda and also having the Masha. Everyone is just joining in, but Masha didn't join yet. There's a kill. There's a first blood on Ethan, but Ethan goes back. He manages to survive. He gets his passive. He gets in the bush, and he waits to see another Dawn.
This is going to be the worry a little bit for IMPERIO Esports. Their early game, before you hit that level 4 mark, they actually don't have all that much damage, especially against heroes like the Hilda. That's why you see Ethan able to just walk in with impunity.
I don't think it's a level issue. I think it's a lot more about items, but you're now 1v1. Bebex, can you get it?
Oh, it's a first blood! It is a first blood with the electrifying beats. He goes in, he gets what he wants, and the first blood is drawn by Team LILGUN.
A very nice play right there. Good focus onto the gold lane. We already talked about the Yur and Bebex matchup here, and the team seem to be respecting that.
can see what they can do here, man, because even in the mid lane, Fashion is having a lot of trouble dealing with this Mathilda. With Marquinhos and Aurora having space in the top side, I don't think they can even go for the turtle. Popping the Mountain Shocker right here, but Aurora...
Oh, he's going in, he's engaging, he is engaging, fully committing to it. Aurora is down, and the early game is going to the favor of Team LILGUN so far. There's a crowd control happening here. Ethan goes back, and that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Engage and then disengage. That Matilda is just crazy. The fight keeps on, but the turtle goes for that joy.
Ooh, they're still going as well.
Oh, what is that?
Chased down!
He went down until the end, getting that turtle and then getting the kill after. What? That was a free kill.
And looks like one more as well. Ethan, for some reason, overstepping boundaries. So much actioning happening all over the map.
You have to pay attention to the pressure, though. Aurora is facing a lot of interruptions to his jungling speed. And man, Luxora is making full use of this Joy Pick. But keep in mind, whoa, that is a half HP Masha just deleted.
In a blink of an eye, he is just down. He took that Edith away from the calculations. Oh, sorry, it took the Masha, but look down here. He's still committing to it. He is still being so annoying to Yuri. Yuri cannot breathe in the land of dawn. He gets that kill, but all thanks to the turret damage. And then he gets more gold than the gold he was supposed to get from that minion wave. Aurora keeps on clearing that wave, and Team IMPERIO Esports come back to the game.
For Bit got taken out right there. I believe the kill went to Yur, so a small victory here for IMPERIO. And they're trying themselves to try and make the plays happen, but with a roamer like the Edith, it's just a bit more difficult to really try and get the dynamic engages. It's a bit more telegraphed unless you use a battle spell. So with the Flicker available, I believe that IMPERIO is just trying to play it as passive as possible, because once they have items, that's when they really start scaling, man. Levels would be nice, but for now, I think gold is what they really require to really pop off.
Yeah, Ethan is taking it too far. Ethan is overstepping. He's going in without permission. Look at here. There's some damage happening then with the electrifying beast. Will he survive or not? Let's see together, but it seems that he got that kill with the killing spree, and he is still alive. Aurora is dying, and in the backline he's getting snagged off. Look at Marquinhos. He's getting that kill even by committing that flicker. He still goes down. Ethan with that triple kill. Ethan is out. 1, 2, 3 kills go to Team IMPERIO. Marquinhos, he's on fire.
Wow, we got to see a lot of gameplay from Aurora and Yuri yesterday. Marquinhos now wanting to make his mark upon the land of dawn. 5-0 on the Dirov. This is actually a problem for LILGUN.
I don't know what the heck happened, man. LILGUN on paper were aggressing. They were the ones with control, but they just lost 3 to Marquinhos. And this is a 5-0 diver, dude. You gotta watch out for this. We saw that earlier. Even with minimal kills, he's able to just delete Aizen on the Masha. If this goes on, that's a big problem, because for the most part, right, that's going to be the main problem. The diver just doing the physical damage.
Yeah, Dirov as a hero is actually really scary when up against these tanky opponents that don't actually have all that much burst. So Marquinhos can just go on in, keep the fight extended, and constantly lower armor. You have to remember, this actually benefits Aurora and Yur as well. The extra physical damage coming in from the Yisan Shin and Bruno could be scary.
It is scary, but Ethan is like getting under nerves. He's trying so much to irritate Aurora.
On the other side, Steve, I think he's trying to actually engage as much as possible, but he's not allowed to. And look at Yur!
Where is Yur? Where is Yur? Yur is down! Yur is down, and Bibix is also down, so a 1v1 or a 1-2-1 trade happening at the bot lane. Both gold laners are out, and it is equal once again.
We already know that Team LILGUN is honestly very aggressive. They're almost willing to trade heroes, even players as important as their marksmen, to try and get kills. I wonder if they may be overstepping their boundaries here. Oh, Aurora?
Maybe he is overstepping so far, and there's that Surgon Eagle. Matilda E. He's going in. He is going in. Aurora is down, and Aurora is already down. Stevie cannot stand that damage, and forbids Ethan from dying. So far, that electrifying beats is so scary. He's still committing. Masha is taking the turret damage, and he is dealing with the rest. He is dealing with the rest. And we can see that the Bower of Wildness takes that last kill. Hilda takes a kill for the favor of Team LILGUN.
the dive is snowballing, who cares? We get everything on the other side of the map. Technically, in that engagement, IMPERIO Esports only had 2 kills because Marquinhos was split pushing on the other side of the map. So LILGUN now with the aggressive rotations right here, they're managing to extend their lead from 1 or 2 members to the whole team, to the map overall. IMPERIO need to try and find a way to do that themselves. Look at the gold disparity, man. 1,500 gold for Marquinhos, but he can't really roam around, and he's going full damage, by the way. Heptoseize and the Hunter Strike, he's not going for the tanky Direwolf that we're used to seeing. And now IMPERIO are going for trades right here. I think this is exactly the right answer. But keep in mind, Yuri's on the top side, they can very easily, Team LILGUN can very easily go for another dive on top.
Yeah, that could be what they're looking for. They already secured the turtle here in the top half of the map, but they're gonna respect boundaries a little bit right here. Right now, Team LILGUN's biggest threat is going to be Marquinhos on that Direwolf. As long as they can ensure that the EXP lane of IMPERIO Esports is showing on the map somewhere, it becomes a lot safer for them to just go for these big dives under the tower.
There's a conceal committing here, happening on the top lane. They are trying to go in, but they choose to withdraw. Team LILGUN avoids a surge, like an inevitable fight, but it seems like they want to go in. They want to take that team fight a bit longer, and he is going in. He's going in. This is Matilda Airlines. He goes in. Fishin is down, and look at the joy with the electrifying beast. They are electrifying indeed. Look at LILGUN taking everything, and that top lane even with the turret itself. But here he comes. Here he comes. What a flicker! What a flicker! And you can take that snowball down. You can take Marquinhos down. And Joy lives with multiple kills and with the top lane turret.
We are seeing incredible feats of micro mechanics coming out from Team LILGUN right here. The effectiveness of Forbid on this Matilda, being able to pull Bebex right out of that Abyss of Strike is insane.
That was so good from Team LILGUN, but IMPERIO, they're just scrambling towards these fights. They're not getting the kind of right engagements they require. If the gold lane extends further than 5k, it's going to be dangerous, and now they go in again with Circling Eagle.
It was almost in, or like they almost committed to it, but it's so dangerous to go inside the second tier, and they will wait up until that Lord.
Yeah, that's probably the wise choice here. They have to be so respectful right now. I know that Team LILGUN are willing to be aggressive, they're willing to dive, but there's still certain limits. So it doesn't look like that's going to stop them from completely zoning IMPERIO off of their own tier 2.
And it's a good move here from IMPERIO to just move away from the turrets. The last thing they want is with a squishy backline, a front-to-back composition, getting Team LILGUN behind them, right? That's the worst case scenario. So once they defend right here, this is where it gets tough. With so much damage per second, if they're in the base, Team LILGUN is going to struggle to really get a decisive fight the way they've been getting all this time. If you notice, the only reason why Team LILGUN has been so successful is they can chase down the members of IMPERIO all the way from the middle of the map towards their base. But now with the Lord taken here, let's see what can Team LILGUN do. Are they going to set up for a 3-wave push? Are they going to go for a dive? Or are they going to go for the more calm, calculated approach, using the Brody as a sieging tool?
Yeah, the decisions are going to be a lot more fragile going into the next few minutes for Team LILGUN, because like you mentioned, once you hit that late game state, IMPERIO Esports has a very good amount of scaling with Yor and Aurora, while Team LILGUN can only just soak damage. So they have to be very careful about how they really approach things and preferably end game quickly.
It's going to be a steal from Zora. Already level 15 right here, but this is where Team LILGUN are now working against the clock. Now that they've reached level 15 and they have the bulk of the gold in their disposal, they lose the purple buff actually, but Marquinhos
almost
survives.
lost his life. Almost lost his life there, just for a purple buff. But they go back again. I don't know. Is this the end?
I don't think it's the end just yet. There are ways for IMPERIO to really clear this out. I mean, there's the Primal Rage, Edith damage. There's 2 marksmen. It's only going to depend on if Team LILGUN can find a catch.
They can't find a catch here, and they didn't lose so far, Team IMPERIO, but they just might. But look here, they are trying so hard to make that defense work. They already take down the Lord with the flicker. Marquinhos goes in, shuts down that Joy. There is no joy anymore for Team LILGUN, and they are still trying to get more than what is offered by Team LILGUN. That's too much. That's not just a successful defense that is also a good aggressive gameplay.
Yeah, that's just a straight-up punish coming in from Imperio Esports there. LILGUN finally overextending themselves a bit too far, and you pointed this out right, Arashi. When they're in their base, it's going to be a lot harder for LILGUN to find these angles. And once Forbid was picked off under the tower, it was go time for Imperio Esports.
Especially because Forbid took so much damage from the turret as well. Losing the Mathilda, they lose the mobility, and that's where Marquinhos just jumps on the opportunity, quite literally deleting one of the members of LILGUN. This is the problem, man. Against so many marksmen, technically, so many late-game damage heroes, you can't really trade like this. Even a 1v1, a 1-for-1 trade is going to be so beneficial for Imperio, because I think the gold lead was up to 8,000, now it's back down to 4.
Yeah, that's all it takes sometimes. It's that one single move, one single mistake. Now, we have to note, Team LILGUN does still have the tools necessary to overcome the odds, right? The whole reason they pick up the Hilda and the Masha is to mark the two marksmen on the side of Imperio specifically. But that means that their engagement needs to have a little bit more finesse built in. They can't just butt heads with Imperio Esports anymore, because Stefe has blood on his mind.
Yeah, they are already they're going in and they are trying to make that dish push, but we have asked how much is your tolerance to spicy food, but how much is Imperio's tolerance to spicy games?
We'll have to see. For now, Lord is up, so in a way, Team LILGUN can force Imperio Esports to get closer and then cut off their exit. That's usually what Mathilda or the Hilda does really, really well. For Imperio, do they feel strong enough to want to risk it with a 5k gold disadvantage? If they don't, they can, I think, defend for one more time, but they risk making a mistake later on and losing the game. But oh, they go now.
They want to go in, they want to go and take Team Imperio down. They are already taking some good damage, but what is that damage, Marquinhos? Come down a bit. What was that damage? But he goes already down, and the Lord also goes for Team LILGUN.
Okay, a nice secure there for Team LILGUN, and it's very smart of them to just dive into Marquinhos there. They realize that he's positioning very far ahead compared to his teammates, and if he's gone, that's basically their main threat for diving the rest of Imperio Esports. With the Lord in their pocket now, though, we're going to see whether or not they can break through the defense of their opponents.
I think against a comp like this, with a lot of damage, but not a lot of wave clear, you have to play with the waves, man. If you're looking at how they're doing it right now, though, they're clearing the top side and the bottom side without pushing the mid lane. And the mid lane moves faster, to be fair. I think they're setting up for a proper push, but might be only in the bottom and mid side. Now this is where Imperio gets confused here. Where do they send their resources? But they seem to be able to clear fast with the defense shred from the Dairat.
Well, there's a mountain shocker there, and also he reveals on the map, but there's no necessity for that map reveals because everyone has shown up already, but there has been a line that was drawn by Team Imperio, and they successfully managed that defense.
Okay, that's good respect from Team LILGUN there. Go for the one inhibitor with the Lord. They know that, again, without the angles necessary to dive the backline, this could be a dangerous dive.
Oh! It is a dangerous dive. Look at Joy once again making Primus use his ultimate, but then they already get their ultimate. Look at the Wrath, look at the Chaos, look at Team Imperio pulling up another successful defense. But the torn apart memory tears apart the bodies of Team Imperio Esports. But look here, do not miss me. You did miss me, and you did miss that damage. Look at that item switch, but nothing can save you. Nothing can save the inhabitable Team LILGUN is wiped out.
Ooh, this is literally what we were talking about, right? It's too dangerous to dive Imperio Esports in their own base. You want to be able to pick off the backline DPSs first.
You can't fight like that, man. In the beginning, it looked so good because they have all these spells to work with. The moment they ran out of ultimates and the backlines are still fresh and healthy, you saw the damage output coming in from the Bruno and the Yi Sun-shin. Fortunately for Team LILGUN, they're able to get a trade right there, but look at the gold difference. Man, it's only 2K right here. This is that momentum swing that Imperio have been waiting for, but the same conditions still stand. Imperio have to find a way to get a proper front to back, and Team LILGUN can play around with the map even more. But with the goal difference equalizing, it's getting more and more difficult for Team LILGUN to do so.
And especially considering that Imperio is going for very aggressive builds here. I just saw the Blade of Despair completed for not just Aurora, but Marquinhos as well on the Dirok. So he's actually going for DPS. He understands that LILGUN is mostly damage sponges. If they can break through the front line, it becomes a lot easier for them to take the rest of the fight.
Well, they can. They can actually go and take the rest of the fight, but I think this is a death bush, right?
It's possible if it works. Asian!
It is possible indeed, and now he crosses the line once again by Forbid. Again, once over and over and over again, saves his team members, but there's a conceal there by the Edith. There's a conceal by Team Imperio. Will they commit to anything? They just commit that lure. They want to take it so fast. Yeah, but the Joy can come in, but the Fire mistakes that Lord with the last hit, and there's chaos happening in the Land of Dawn. The Land of Dawn is witnessing a massacre happening between two great teams. LILGUN is down. Imperio is now doing a revolutionary, doing really great double kill. And then Marquinhos comes to take everything down. Everything now crumbles on the hands of Team LILGUN. Guess who's in the house? Team Imperio is in the house.
Massive mistakes made by Team LILGUN. They panicked. They saw the Lord being rushed down and they made their move way too quickly. IMPERIO Esports were quick to snatch up on the opportunity and claim victory for game number 1.
They get LILGUN flustered. They force the Lord. They catch Zixora in a weird spot. And just like that, man, it is all over. Imperio, what a performance and what an adaptation. It looked so bleak since the beginning, but they pulled it back.
Well, as I told you, it takes one mistake, one simple mistake.
What an incredible game here that we witnessed right now. It definitely looked like LILGUN had all the tools necessary. They were putting so much pressure on Imperio with the surprise pick of Hilda and Masha to threaten the backline marksman heroes. But once you got into that late game, once they were able to defend and play the front to back they wanted in their own base, that is when Team LILGUN's over-aggression came back to bite themselves in the butt.
Like I said, man, all they require was a few more items. In the late game, those marksmen are just doing way too much damage. I get that you're a Masha, right? You have 3 HP bars, but against a Yi Sun-shin and Bruno in the late game, you'll last for, let's say, what, 8 hits? And that's about it. And that's the problem there in the late game. Because in the early game with the shielding, with the Flash of the Oasis, then they can last and really pressure away all these marksmen. But in the late game, it's the opposite situation. Now the marksmen can hold their ground and out-damage and out-lifesteal the tank's damage. And that's where, for LILGUN, they just failed to find a winning solution right there. I feel like the transition, right, from the skirmishes, from the laning phase to the skirmish was pretty okay, but from the skirmish to that late game siege, that late game Lord setup, it's just not as polished, and Imperio absolutely took advantage of that.
Yeah, I think Team LILGUN kind of fell into a false sense of security, right? They thought they were so safe behind their 2 brick walls of the Hilda and the Masha, but like you mentioned, once you get into the late game, the marksmen are the true threats on the field. The 3 health bars actually aren't all that strong considering the recent adjustments to Masha to make her more of a bruiser than a straight-up tank. But of course, let's talk about who our MVP is for game number 1. And of course, it's going to go over to Marquinhos. The Dirov gameplay was absolutely insane.
Marquinhos, man, that was insane. What a performance. Holding down the early game, somehow, some way, finding a triple kill, even though his team is behind. And even in the last sequence of the game, I hope we're going to see it in the highlights later on, but that final flicker in to secure the 2 last kills, to make sure that the death timers are all set for the victory. Marquinhos, man, great show of mechanics and also great show of like in-game instincts. What a beast.
But we have seen some familiar scenario yesterday, right? I think LILGUN reverse sweep. So do you think that we will see something like that in terms of they are already like in charge of the game since the beginning?
It would definitely be within expectations here, because you're right, yeah, so this is exactly what happened previously, and we have to note, LILGUN actually performed even worse in their game 1 yesterday. So considering everything, the comeback is very possible, but IMPERIO Esports have really impressed us here.
This early game was just absolutely brutal, man. The combination of the Mathilda and the Joy, there's just so much mobility, and there's so many ways for them to go aggressive and still come out. But Marquinhos just winning in the lane and afterwards transitioning to just 1v3ing, beating everyone out right here, knowing which target to go through first with help of Fashion, of course. That was what allowed them to really stay in the fight for just quite a bit. And this is the problem. Even though LILGUN were doing so well, they were trading again and again with a team that has 2 marksmen, with a team that has the better late game. You cannot do that, man.
Yeah, so this is actually a question I wanted to kind of pose to you, Arashi. We've seen that the tendency of Team LILGUN is that they're just going to trade bodies. They want to get these kills. They want to snowball, even if it means sacrificing some of their members. But against a team that's going to be better in the late game, were those trades the cause of their defeat?
I have to say so, man, especially at this moment right here. That sequence began with the base defense that LILGUN just seems unprepared for. And afterwards, they're able to run down the members of IMPERIO. But again, once they were close, they kind of went all in. They felt like they have the same kind of power surge, power spike they had in the early game. But it's not the case. I mean, look at this. Most of their members are able to survive the burst damage coming in and afterwards come back through, and they even burned the immortality in Zixora. And afterwards, the call to rush the Lord was a bit crazy, you know, a bit fast-paced, but it worked out because then it forced LILGUN to actually rush in kind of blind as well, not knowing where the priority targets was, and Marquinhos just sealed the deal right there with an amazing double kill. And overall, like you mentioned, there is time for adaptations from LILGUN, but IMPERIO, they're not a one-dimensional flat team as well. So I think adaptations are going to be seen from both these teams.
Well, what was amazing for me and also impressive is that Team IMPERIO managed to take that game up until Yustin Chain and also Bruno managed to get all their items. I guess we will see the items in a bit, but there wasn't enough, let's say, damage taken heroes, like damage. No heroes to front any damage, or like no heroes to be able to open that space for IMPERIO, but they just, with the Edith, they managed to do that.
Yeah, that is true. You would think that just looking at the matchups here, IMPERIO Esports should not have the tools to deal with the complete dive potential of Team LILGUN. So I think, again, a lot of props have to be given to Marquinhos here on that Derov EXP lane. If he wasn't able to get that snowball in the first few minutes, LILGUN could have just run away with the game right from the get-go. That time and space that he was able to buy, the trades that IMPERIO were able to get, allowed the game to be delayed until Aurora and Yor became real threats.
He used the space that was given to him. You know, with everyone just focusing on the gold lane, on Yor, that means that Marquinhos has free reign to do a lot of things, and he was active as possible to ensure that his team at least gets something in exchange of all the plays that LILGUN was doing. In the late game, though, technically, they do not have a tank, but the Edith can really survive from a big all-in with the Primal Wrath. And Fashion on the Faramis with the Enchanted Talisman, with the Inspire as well. He's stacking up a lot of cooldown reduction in order to use that Netherrealm. That was the main, I think, the main solution. In the early game, it was so difficult to figure out when exactly are LILGUN trying to commit to a full-on teamfight, to a full-on dive. But in the late game, with the base right behind you, it's a bit more clear-cut, which so the Netherrealm was just coming in a lot more solidly. And afterwards, that's where everyone clumped up together. That's where actually it's the most dangerous time for LILGUN.
Yeah, strangely, it didn't seem like they were able to adapt to the way that the game state changed, right? They just dived so deep without respecting properly their opponents. And this is the result, Marquinhos being the rich guy and the carry as the EXP laner. You don't get to see that very often.
What a beast.
Well, yeah, I can tell you that it was a devastating way to lose also, because I don't know if Team LILGUN come back with the same performance after losing with one mistake. I think that at sometimes it's soul crushing.
That is true.
It has to be.
Hopefully, this isn't going to stifle their momentum. We've already seen some historical data from this team that they are able to come back and make the adaptations necessary. But Arashi, what do you think they will need to do going into Game 2?
They just have to have a more clear-cut game plan, right? And they have to work on the transitions, moving from, let's say, a Lord setup to a siege, right? There's different steps in the game. There are different stages where they have to prepare for. And it seems like when they're moving between stages, that is where they are most, when they're just not on alert, right? They make mistakes, slip-ups do happen. But by the way, if you look at the damage dealt, Marquinhos was on top there, and he's actually rivaling